Hi, teacher friends. Let me start with a quick question. Have you ever struggled to teach shapes and their attributes to your students? Maybe they get confused between sides and vertices, or they mix up edges and flat faces and curved faces. Sometimes, no matter how many times we explain, the concepts just don't stick. And it becomes a real challenge to help them build a clear, lasting understanding. Today, I'm going to share the simple method I use with my own students, a step by step approach that has consistently helped me understand shapes deeply and remember their attributes with confidence. We'll walk you through hands on models, the printable booklets, and finally the boom cards I use for reinforcement and assessment. First of all, before we dive into individual shapes, I always start by giving my learners some time to explore all the hands on shape models. This helps them get familiar with how the shapes look and feel, and it builds a natural curiosity before we begin formal learning. Then we begin learning each shape. I take one shape at a time, we explore its model, talk about its features, and then move straight to the booklet where we write the name, draw the shape, and record its attributes. Once we have gone through all the shapes this way, I move into reinforcement and evaluation stage using boom cards. These are great for independent practice, and I love that I can track each student's progress on backend. And if you'd like to explore any of the resources I'm using today, you'll find all these links in the description box below, plus a few extra shape resources that I didn't get a chance to talk about but are super helpful for full shape unit. Part 1, 2D shapes. I begin 2D shapes by letting students explore all the flat shape models together. They touch them, compare them, and talk about what they notice. This creates excitement and gives them a real sense of curiosity before we start studying each shape individually. Once the excitement is built, we take one shape at a time and move into the booklet. Each shape is introduced across a full spread. On the left-hand page, students trace the name of the shape in dotted font, copy it several times, draw the shape on the dotted outline, and write its attributes, the number of sides and vertices. Here again, they touch and feel the real models to explore these attributes. Then they look at a group of different shapes and color only the shapes we are studying. On the right-hand page, they draw the same shape in different sizes and colors. This part of the page has dotted grid, so it helps them to draw the 2D shapes, or else I use shape stencils for this part. It makes the activity so much easier and more fun. Below that, there's a cut and paste activity. I've included separate sheets with shapes in different sizes. I print them on colored pages, cut them out, and students paste them onto the page. This is always a favorite activity. After all the shapes are introduced, the booklet includes revision pages, matching, identifying attributes, coloring the correct shapes, and finally a complete recap table where students write the names, sides, and vertices for each shape. Once the students have mastered all the shapes in the booklet, we move to the reinforcement stage using boom cards. These boom cards include quizzes where students identify the attributes of a shape, select the correct name, and solve the fun riddles on clues. These riddles make the practice enjoyable and keep students thinking. I can assign these boom cards as homework or as an assessment because students complete them individually, and I can track their progress on the back end. It's a very easy and effective way to evaluate understanding.
I have 5 sides and 5 corners. What shape am I? Write the attributes of this shape and select its name.
Part 2, 3D shapes. For 3D shapes, hands-on models are even more important. Students need to feel the edges, vertices, flat faces, and curved faces to truly understand them. Comparing 2D shapes with 3D shapes help them see the difference clearly. Before we begin individual shapes, we go through introductory pages of booklet where all major 3D shapes and their parts are shown. Then we move on to studying each 3D shape one at a time. On the left-hand page, students see real-life objects that match the shape like boxes, balls, cans, or dice. They can color these pictures. On the right-hand page, the shape is shown in solid lines and dotted lines. Students trace the dotted version, write the name of the shape in dotted font and copy it several times, and then fill in the attributes, edges, vertices, flat faces, and curved faces. While doing this, I always keep the hands-on model beside them. I let them trace the edges with different colored pencils and mark the vertices with another color. This helps them count easily and understand the structure of the shape. I also assign specific colors for the flat faces and curved faces so they can identify them clearly. At the bottom of the page, students draw the shape on their own. I guide them one-on-one on how to draw 3D shapes correctly. After several shapes are introduced, the booklet includes revision pages, matching real-life objects, coloring according to the shape, selecting correct name, writing attributes, and fun cut and paste sorting activities. Once the students have studied all the 3D shapes using the models and the booklet, we move to the reinforcement and assessment stage with boom cards. These boom cards start with introductory slides reviewing the shapes and their parts, edges, vertices, flat faces, and curved faces. Then students move into the quiz slides where they identify the shape or select the correct number of attributes. There are also fun riddle slides where the clues are given and students choose the correct shape from the options. These are always a hit once they understand the concepts. I assign these boom cards individually and I can easily check each student's progress on the back end. It's a simple and effective way to reinforce and evaluate their
How many
understanding.
curved faces does this shape have? How many flat faces does this shape have? Read the shape clues. Which shape matches? Tap the correct one. How many
So, if teaching shapes has ever felt confusing or overwhelming, if your students mix up sides and vertices or struggle to understand edges, flat faces, and curved faces, I hope this walkthrough gave you a clear, practical solution. Using hands-on models, the structured printable booklets, and the boom cards for reinforcement has made a huge difference with my students. And it's a method that truly helps students understand and remember these concepts with confidence. All the resources I showed today, plus a few extra helpful ones, are linked in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and I hope this approach makes your shape lessons smoother, cleaner, and a lot more enjoyable for both you and your students. Happy teaching!